Hello, welcome back to another video by Grove Models. I want to extend a big thank you to the lovely people at Model Shack. They have kindly offered us a 10% discount, which I will share with you. This can be used on their main shop online. Keep watching to see how to get 10% off your next order. To start, I use Saddle Brown from A.K.A. Interactive for my base colour on the leather jacket. I thinned the saddle brown down with just a few drops of my thinner. Waffen brown was used next, again slightly thinned, as it can be a little thick. This was used to spray into all the little creases to add shadows to the jacket. A coat of satin varnish from A.K.A. Interactive was sprayed to protect the paintwork and to give it that leathery sheen. A.K.A. Interactive Leather Brown was used as a base coat for the boots. In this video, I go between parts. I move on to the next part as one part is drying. Dark Burgundy was used from Monument Hobbies to add a darker tone. Satin from A.K.A. was then sprayed on the boots. A quick blast from the hairdryer to dry the satin coat. Buff from Tamir was used as the primary colour for his trousers. Beige Grey from Monument Hobbies was carefully sprayed into all the recesses for shadows. Mahogany from Monument Hobbies was sprayed onto the boots. I didn't like the burgundy tone. Ochre Khaki from A.K.A. was dry brushed next. I used the same colour to dry brush the leather jacket. I do apologise, as the video shows that my hand does get in the way while painting. Next time, I'll rearrange the camera for a better angle. Another quick coat of satin from A.K.A. was sprayed on the boots and jacket. For the Jetpack straps, I painted them with Mahogany from Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies Ivory was used for Cliff's shirt. I didn't want it to be white and clean. This whole build is aimed more towards a worn, dirty look, continuing his adventures. For the jacket buttons, I used light bronze from Monument Hobbies. also painted the boot eyelets and shoelaces aglets with the same light bronze. Flat aluminium for Tamiya was sprayed on the Jetpack. For Cliff's helmet, I used Monument Hobbies copper for the primary colour. Rich gold was sprayed next for some highlights. Back to copper, as I thought this looked too bright for what I was after. I sprayed this into the weld joins to add some depth. A.K.A. black was used to paint over the overspray from the helmet. White ink from Vallejo was used to base coat the skin. Monument Hobbies dark magenta was then sprayed over the white ink. Red ink from Vallejo was then sprayed over the dark magenta lightly. Orcish dermis from Fantasy and Games was then sprayed over the red ink, which is the base for the skin tone. To highlight the skin, I used Vallejo Salmon Rose. Crusader skin from Army Painter was used to add back some shadows and lightly add a little darker tone to the skin, with the helmet being on his neck would be shadowed. Highlight Flesh from A.K.A. was then added for a light highlight. A coat of matte varnish was then gently and carefully sprayed on the skin. Black from A.K.A. was painted inside the helmet. Agrax Earthshade from Citadel was used to add a wash over the helmet, then once semi-dried, I used a damp tissue to take off some of the shade. Satin Black from Monument Hobbies was then painted for the eye lenses and mouth grille, and for inside the air scoops in the helmet. Wash for tracks, enamel wash from A.K.A. was used on the leather jacket for the seams and to shade the buttons. I also used this wash on the soles of the boots and the seams in the leather. A.K.A. gloss varnish was sprayed onto the trousers to seal in the paintwork and to protect it from the enamel wash. Wash for tracks was used again for the seams and pockets. A clear varnish was applied to the Jetpack and left to dry for a day. Warm brown from Monument Hobbies was used for the gloves. I used mahogany from Monument Hobbies for the strappings on the gloves. Gunmetal from A.K.A. was painted onto the Mauser C96. Monument Hobbies burnt umber was then used for the wooden pistol handle. With a cotton bud and some A.K.A. odorless thinner, I rubbed away the excess wash. With A.K.A. Ochre Khaki, I dry brushed the leather gloves. Also using the same ochre khaki, I dry brushed the jetpack straps. A.K.A satin varnish was then brush painted on the gloves for that leather look. And onto the jetpack shoulder and waist straps. A.K.A matte varnish was sprayed using the airbrush, which made it look more like fabric than the gloss coat. A.K.A wash for NATO vehicles was used to add a wash coat to the Mauser C96. With a cotton bud slightly damp, I wiped up any excess. A.K.A wash for tracks was used for the wooden handle. A.K.A wash for NATO camo vehicles was used on the jetpack. I-panel lined all the lines, rivets and fan grills. Old gold from A.K.A was used to paint the studs on the gloves and the buttons on the trouser rear pockets. Bold Pyrrole Red from Monument Hobbies was used to paint the activation button for the jetpack. Once I was happy with everything, I superglued all the body pieces together. Please comment below on how I can improve the following video, or what you would like me to paint next. Now it's time to move on to the jetpack. A.K.A odorless thinner was used with a cotton bud to remove the excess. Vallejo Electric Blue Intense Violet was airbrushed onto the thrusters for a burnt metal look. Vallejo Bright Gold Brown was then used as a slight change in tone on the top part of the thrusters. Old Gold Grey Violet was used for the middle of the thrusters. The effect of these shifter paints only really works once they are dry, so a quick blast from the hairdryer to dry the coats. A tiny piece of blue tack was placed onto the jetpack. This will be the chewing gum. I painted the blue tack in Monument Hobbies Heavy Warm White. Light bronze from Monument Hobbies was painted onto the top cones of the jetpack. A.K.A fuel stains was used to paint the fuel stain that spilt out of the bullet hole from the car chase. Now time to glue the last part. A quick gloss coat from A.K.A on the pistol handle. Snow sprinkles from A.K.A was added to the base and boots, which gives a melted slush type look. I want to say a huge thank you to the subscribers. I really appreciate your support. I hope you've liked this paint up. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. It would help the channel to grow. To receive 10% off your order from Model Shack, please refer to the video description for details. Copy the link and you can use it on their website. I would highly recommend them. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment.